What's up? What's up, everybody? This is Real Talk 1111. My name's Ken. In today's episode, I got my good buddy Dave P. I met him about 2 years ago at events and going out to eat, and we've talked, and um, I'm excited to have him here today. I wanted to start off by thanking my higher power. Uh, Without my higher power, none of this would be possible. I also wanted to thank Connection West. I can't thank those guys enough for loving me until I could love myself. All the predecessors that come before me that paved this road in AA and NA, and the 12 steps. The 12 steps help me think about what I think about. They help me figure out why I wanted to escape and do drugs and get shit faced in the first place. But my guest today is Dave P. He's got a few days put together. I'll let him go into that. But he's a father. He's a son. He's a husband. He's a mentor. He's a survivor of this disease. He's a brother. He's a sponsor. And I could go on and on and on, but with no further ado, I give you Dave B. What's up, man?
What's up? Thanks for having me on, man.
No
I
problem.
was talking right before this about our connections through a couple of your sons and and that's how God of my understanding works is through people and situations, um, and
Yeah,
it brings me together with people,
yeah.
um, and he also removes some people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Uh,
absolutely does. I
yeah,
call them connections.
yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Well, people. It's the one of the sketch. I think it's Trent Shelton or something like that. I watch, and he said people are in our lives for seasons and reasons,
Yeah,
and it's kind of none of my business what those seasons and reasons are,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I really probably don't want to know anyway.
Right, right.
So
That's
it's
interesting, man. How you know all three of my son? Well, two out of three.
two, yeah,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
yeah.
And from and before you knew me, even.
Yeah, yeah, and then we were talking about, it took me a while to put all that together
Yeah,
because the last name cued me when I saw you on Facebook and we became friends and stuff, and then
yeah,
I'm like, oh wait a minute, that's
yeah,
him and him. I
yeah,
know him from here and here. It's
yeah.
and so yeah, it's a beautiful thing when I see somebody doing something for recovery, and I feel like I want to jump on board and share the message of hope and freedom that you know it's available to
And
anybody
yeah, and we were just saying, man, in order to keep it, you got to give it away.
must.
Um, how'd you get here, Dave? What led you to wanting to be a better person?
Um, Man, I just that's a loaded question.
Did you get in trouble, or did you just
Yeah,
find?
I was.
Okay,
Oh yeah, I was
okay,
day one in trouble.
okay.
Juvenile system, adult, justice system, county jail, city jails, prison. I did a lot of juvenile detention center, DYS.
Hmm.
I was just constantly. I was just that dumbass that got caught
Yeah,
all the time
yeah.
because I just was out there. I just didn't care.
Well, it's a game you
Yeah.
can't win. You're gonna get caught.
Yeah.
You're gonna get
And
caught
I knew
somewhere.
that. And at a certain point in my life, I had accepted that. And that's a dangerous place to be.
Ooh,
It's a dangerous place to be.
yeah. To not be scared of the consequences, right?
Yeah.
Ah,
I didn't.
okay,
I didn't fear. The fear was gone many years before that.
okay.
It was. I had become accustomed to that lifestyle.
Hmm.
It was just par for the course. I got high. I went to some institution or jail.
Yeah,
That's just the way it was, and I had accepted that. It took some years, but I had 20 years out there in active addiction, so and by no means am I bragging. I'm just stating some facts, you know what
yeah,
I mean, so that
yeah.
people can understand and relate a little bit, and it was um 10 years of this certain substance, and then 10 years of a different substance, and I was an intravenous drug user.
Okay.
It got bad fast.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's this is really beautiful because what takes somebody who's used to it, not afraid of any consequences, living a life of crime, lived a life of crime longer than not. What makes you decide, to change?
so I was at Noble Correctional Institution
Mhm.
out there in Caldwell, and it was my shortest bid, and it was also my longest bid, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
So at that point in my life, I think I was 38, over halfway to
Yeah.
maybe possibly the end of my life, and just pondering a lot of things at that point.
It's not a young man.
Yeah, I'm no longer a whippersnapper. I don't even know where I pulled that word from. Can we edit that? So, no,
It's
spring chicken.
not being a young man. Only old guys use the word whippersnapper.
That's right. Yeah, my cell phone's on my belt now. Like, damn.
Mine too. I got the old
That's
man clip.
yeah. So it is what it is. You know, and so yeah,
Your
man, I
shortest
got
bit. Your
yeah.
shortest bit.
So I was with a guy that I knew from Zanesville. We rolled up some dip and were smoking it. They're also really stupid, but the cops smelled it. You walked by and he acted like he didn't, and he come back around real quick, shook me down. You don't know what a shakedown is in the joint. It's they just tear your house up, man. You dump your block upside down. They take all your books and rip them open. They pull all your bedding off. Like it's a full search and seizure,
Hmm.
just incarcerate.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you have no rights. You signed those away when you
Yeah.
came into the reception center.
You belong
So
to the state.
I am up. Yeah, the state owns me, and in fact, I have a serial number also
Yeah.
attached to it. Yeah. So I don't remember my last one, but
Almost a barcode.
yeah, a lot of guys get them tattooed on.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but whatever. So and man, it was hot. It was like August, July, August. I mean,
Hmm.
everything sweats in there. The walls, the floors, the people, at the cops, everybody's. It's just wet. It's just moist
Okay.
and miserable. And
Hmm.
I was on the second floor, which is even worse, right? Heat rises. I just looked down after that happened. I signed my little ticket or paperwork or whatever, and they had found the little roach of it, and I was in a Bible bus, which also was rolled with Bible paper. Yeah, so it bees like that in there, right? So
I, I've done
man,
it out here
they're
actually.
very
I
guys.
tried to use the page with no writing on it, but you run out of those.
My attempt, yeah.
You run out
We're
of
gonna
those.
smoke some ink eventually. I'm just saying, there's only so many bottles of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I remember looking down the aisle and I was thinking to myself, I just don't want to do this with these people anymore. I don't. I don't want to do this. I needed to get clean 20 years ago.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
20
It's
more
not.
than that now. Yeah,
It's
right.
not.
We're working on 3 decades. uh, 20 of which were, active addiction. So I just was gonna try to figure it out. I had done a different fellowship before, didn't really work out for me, but I didn't apply myself. So
Yeah,
my thought process was, when I get out this time, I'm gonna do everything different. I'm gonna go to a different program. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go to treatment. I'm gonna do a different fellowship. I'm gonna try and do everything that I never did on
yeah,
every other attempt
yeah.
to get and stay clean.
So these are some beautiful words that you're using, and they're such small words with huge meanings. Try and do.
Yeah, small, but east and west.
Yes, yes,
So I can
man.
try to do a lot of shit, right? You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
But really doing something about my problem is where the men separate from the boys.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was a boy for a long time.
Grown. What do you call it? A grown ass boy, I
Grown
guess.
ass boy. I like that. I'm gonna keep that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that in the future.
He's a
Um,
grown ass boy.
yeah, give him some time. So
So you got out and you did
No.
some different
So
things?
there's some other stuff before that.
Okay.
So I got on the phone with a friend of mine from Roseville, she's out by Zanesville, and she's like, "Hey," which let me back up a little bit. So I have some history with Perry Behavioral Health Choices before this,
Yeah.
and
Perry Behavioral Health Services. I got a big shout
PBH,
out to them.
yeah, they were. I gave them a run for their money, man.
Okay.
I really did, and I'm sorry if you're watching. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
truly.
yeah.
And
No,
so,
no, really.
no, really, really, I'm smiling, but truly, and any of those people watching will get it immediately. And so, um, I went through an IOP program. Me and this guy Ernie that worked there ran the IOP, and it was only Stanton Villa, the Women's Treatment Center,
Hmm.
the main building. That's
Hmm.
all they had at that time. They're much larger than that now, and they offer way more services, which is great.
Yeah,
Perry County in that area needs something
yeah,
going
yeah.
for everyone.
For those who don't, Perry County is Appalachian. I mean, you're
To the
talking
core.
small town, poor, great
Mhm.
people, but it's country. I graduated from Sheridan High School.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with Perry, Tucky.
Right on. Very tight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they, you're in IOP. Can you explain a little bit about the first week, month, um, how that went for you in treatment?
Um. So, well, let me back up a little bit.
Okay, okay,
There's an important key for
okay,
this,
okay.
and an important person that I really need to mention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Help
Do it.
save and so, anyway, I got a generic pass to the multi-building, which is just a building where all kinds of different stuff goes on, meetings, church,
Hmm.
people come in for outreach programs. And so this guy did come in, for an outreach program for Evolution, which is PBHC's men's treatment center that I had discussed with a friend of mine a few weeks back. At that time, I had no belief. My higher power was the dope man and the dope. That's
Yeah,
what I believed
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that's all I knew for the most
Hmm.
part. And so,
But you also knew that that was no longer working.
right, I didn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
I wanted to get high, but I didn't want to pay any consequences, and those two things don't match up.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Can't do it.
Whether it's legal, personal, spiritual, whatever the case may be, I'm paying consequences, and
Yeah,
they're dangerous
yeah.
consequences most of the time.
Jails, institutions, or death. That's it.
So those are my three choices.
So
So
this guy comes in.
yeah, so I walked to the door. I wasn't gonna go in. They all got the wire mesh, bulletproof,
Okay.
deals,
Yeah,
steel
yeah.
door, and it's and I look and I recognize the guy. So it was my ex's liaison for JFS. He now worked for PBHC, and he came on an outreach program to get inmates to sign up for assessments for treatment the following day when they get out of prison. And
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I'll
Famil-
be damned.
a familiar face.
So I walked in,
Yeah.
and I still get emotional to this day about that. Um, had it not been that hand of recovery, I don't think I would be here right now.
These life-changing moments, man, where you know that that moment was pivotal.
Gene Teja, love you, man. Thank you.
What was his name again?
Gene Teja.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And so, he's no longer with PBHC, but and that's the only reason I full name like that. But and I still follow, we're friends on Facebook. I thank him. I've thanked him over the years. I've been clean, and so that was yeah. And so my first week in treatment, man, uh, I was just raw. That animalistic
The
that it
monkey
talks
brain.
about, yeah, that it talks about in our literature, how we're
Yeah.
just really survival mode, animalistic to the core, and I was institutionalized, and I was paranoid, and I was afraid.
Yeah.
I didn't want to admit that, and I didn't for many months.
Okay.
But I was afraid to make a decision because all of my decisions up to that point were not, they were bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad was good to me and good was bad to me. It was
Yeah.
flip flopped, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And trust, there's a level of trust there that's also flip flop. You don't know, you don't know you're after a hole in the ground. You don't know which way
nothing. I didn't know
to
shit.
turn.
I didn't know nothing when I got there. My all my belongings were in a small trash bag. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? When I
Hmm.
walked over to recovery housing afterwards. But my first week was just, it was just I didn't really, I, again, well, I didn't mention this, but I went voluntarily.
Okay.
I wasn't placed there. I didn't, you know what I mean?
You
Like,
weren't court ordered.
right. So I could leave at any time. You know, I didn't, thank God.
Hmm.
Um, you know, so like my first week, I was like, "Yep, this is corny." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I was a bunch. It was like 2 or 3 cats that I got high with, and a couple of them bounced, and
Hmm.
oh, I don't know if I, yeah, one of them was Ryan, who's now a really good friend of mine,
Okay.
and you know he's doing great. Knows his own business. I work with him. It's cool. It's just like I said, people and situations. And that's how God, in my understanding, keeps me in line and
Yeah.
accountable. You know, and so
Yeah. We've talked about this in previous episodes, how you form bonds with these guys and they become family.
yeah,
They become,
yeah, more than friends.
yeah.
In fact, a surrogate family until I'm able to cultivate relationships with my real family again, which I've been able to do
Yeah.
later, but some.
Right. Some family.
It's a process. It's a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Some people just aren't receptive after some of the shit we pull.
And sometimes it's not healthy. Sometimes the family that you
Yeah,
have isn't
yeah.
healthy. Uh,
And so
yeah. So you're in there. It's your first couple weeks. I remember when I first checked into treatment, I was almost looking for please somebody piss me off so I can get the hell out of
yeah,
here. You know, please let something happen. Uh, even the nurse was telehealth, and I was pissed about
yeah,
it. But this lady can't even come see me. You
yeah.
know what I
Can
mean?
you piss me off in person?
I'm out of here. And she was like, "Hold on, honey. Hold on,
Yeah,
honey."
yeah.
She was
Just
like,
chill out.
she was like, "I'm here to help you. We're gonna put you on a diet." And I was like,
I haven't eaten in 17 days. What are you talking about, lady? Yeah,
I haven't eaten in three
yeah.
years, other than a bowl of cereal and some ramen noodles.
Yeah,
You know.
that made my mouth hurt.
And she's like, "Okay, okay, okay. Wait. It's a lifestyle change." And I was receptive to that. And
Yeah,
I had a good friend there also, and she was like, "Get out of your own way. Sit your ass down.
stay in your lane, man.
Don't
Yeah,
be a fucking idiot."
yeah,
You
yeah. It's a choice. It's a
know.
choice. And, yeah, so you know, um, an older gentleman, Stan, told me when I first started coming around and another fellowship before all this,
Hmm.
because I caught 2 felony charges in Zanesville. But prior to that, when I first came to the area, you know, I was attempting to get and stay clean, and I had some surgeries due to some intravenous use and you know some
Yeah.
abscesses, Corpus syndrome, roll nine, and you know, he said you just got to change one thing, everything,
Mm.
and I'm like, the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
nah, there's some stuff, you know, I keep this over here for a minute, you know what I mean, in
Yeah.
case it doesn't work out, and so that doesn't,
Well, I
not
can
for this
change.
time.
I can change everything, but I really just don't want to get rid of.
Yeah,
You know. Yeah.
it's just this certain stuff, you know.
I like. There's a new podcaster out, Theo Vaughn. He said, "Nothing changes if nothing
Nothing changes.
changes,
Amen
man."
to that. That's a fact, Jack.
Yeah.
If I don't do something about it, it will not change.
Yeah.
I'm not willing.
Yeah.
You know,
Got to.
willingness is a huge part.
Got to.
But yeah, so you know, after that, man, you know, I made a lot of mistakes in early recovery. You know, I got involved with some women at the recovery house next door. All three of the first three went back out and relapsed. And I
Wow.
remember having a conversation during this period, mind you. I'm working steps. I'm starting to grow my conscience back
Hmm.
because that was deteriorated. I would
Right.
say almost completely, really. The only time I felt bad was if I felt like I needed to apologize so that I could get something from you again, money, access to dough, whatever. right?
Yeah.
So it was very transactional. My life was very transactional for a long time, and
Yeah.
it continued to be that until Shannon and all our predecessors showed me that that's not the case. We're just here for you, and we don't want anything from you.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy that. That was not something that I was just it just I wrapped my head around that and everything was cool.
That's a
I
hard thing
was
to
very
swallow,
I was
man.
very paranoid,
That's a
very
hard thing to
distrustful,
swallow.
and when you've been to some places where vulnerability and kindness will get you hurt,
Yeah.
um, and I'm not talking just physically, like
Hurt in all kinds of
all
ways.
kinds of ways.
Any kind of way that you can get hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feelings, whole nine,
Yeah. Yeah.
physically, whatever. And so, puts a target on it. And so like I had to shake all that stuff off, man. I had to learn how to be a, a human being again because I was an animal, I was
Yeah.
very uh responsive, reactive, not
Feral.
responsive,
Feral.
reactive,
Feral.
feral, yeah. And so responding it's just not. That was I've had to hone that skill over the years,
Yeah.
and so and Shannon and other people helped me do that. And I talked to go ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just saying you have to unlearn so many
Learn,
things.
relearn,
Yeah.
unlearn for the first time, maybe. So in
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
cases I've
I agree.
run into. uh, so
This is we're talking about Shannon W,
but yeah,
right? And so
Shannon the motherfucking can.
Shannon the Cannon, he was introduced to me as the Narcotics Anonymous Nazi. Although, and he's such a busy sponsor, man. He didn't have time to take me on, but he steered me to my sponsor now.
Nice.
And he's always been a mentor and always answers his phone, dude.
Or
Always.
he'll call you back.
Yep. And even if he's not my sponsor, and I'm trying to get him on. So anybody out there, leave comments if you want to see Shannon on the show. So in comes Shannon.
Yeah. So
Okay.
during treatment, I'm waiting to go to NA because again, like I said before, I'm gonna do something completely different. I'm gonna try new things. I'm gonna do right. I'm
Hmm.
gonna do some things. And we go into this meeting in Lancaster, here in Lancaster, and I don't know that they meet there anymore. But anyway, like it was feisty, right? It was a feisty meeting.
Okay.
Some people got punched in the face. Like,
Really?
yeah, it was. I was like, yeah, this is it. These are my people.
Yeah.
I've arrived,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And and so he was just like the biggest, goofiest guy in the room, and he was loud. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I need right there.
He's tall and he's got a
Yeah,
presence and a voice.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does. And
Yeah.
I remember him from when I was in active addiction, on Facebook, always talking about recovery stuff. And I unfriended him because I wasn't trying to hear that shit.
Right. And he just celebrated his 10 years.
He did.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. And I love you. And he's done so a lot for me. And it's um, it's still an emotional thing for me because if God didn't put these people in my life, right? I know deep down in places I don't talk about, I wouldn't be here. Wouldn't be alive. You know what I mean? And
That's amazing.
so like yeah, and so we start the step working process. He gets me a big book, and he asked me to highlight stuff in treatment. Um,
He
first time
he'd be so pissed at you, he gets you a basic text.
yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I started reading, and highlighting, and every paragraph spoke to me in some way.
Hmm.
I related to the words in the first 107, uh, and I still do. 6 years,
Yeah.
whatever's later, right?
Yeah.
And we start the once I get to recovery housing, we start the step working process. And he has me go through again and highlight how many times the word must shows up. in the first 107 pages, and I think it's like 56 or something like that.
Okay.
12 of those are in recovery and relapse.
Okay. Okay.
These are things I have to do. I have to do these things to stay clean.
Yeah.
I must.
If you're not working on recovery, you're working on a relapse.
Yeah.
That's
And I learned that the hard way, and I'll get to
okay. Okay.
that. So, which is how I learned most of my lessons
Yeah.
in early recovery, coming in, um, you know, and so anyway, so the last female that I got involved with at that recovery house, I'm like, all right, I'm committing, which I knew nothing about love, right?
Yeah.
Nothing,
Yeah.
very little,
Or
very
commitment.
little. I knew about lust,
Yeah.
right? And those two things are very blurrable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I can really switch some stuff around and make it sound real good in my head, man, and justify and rationalize a lot of
A
shit,
lot of people need to hear this.
a lot of stuff, and that is not okay.
Mhm.
It's not okay. And so we ran off to live our uh, life
Clean life.
together.
Clean. You
Yeah,
thought you were doing clean living happily ever after.
this is it, right? Can't
Okay.
get better than this. Got a little trailer out there off the hill, and she had a child in her custody, her son, and um, I loved them both,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. As,
and
as you loved them, as far as you could love, is the way that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, my capacity for love then was not because I didn't understand it. Um, I could only give and receive so much.
Yeah. Okay.
I was very still cut off a lot spiritually, emotionally.
I get it.
I'm not, I wasn't,
Mhm.
I'm a different guy today,
Yeah, I
you
get it.
know, and so went back to school and I had a great case manager, Mercy, love her to death. She did more for me in a few months than man. I can It's so, and she pushed me to
Yeah.
better myself, keep moving forward, uh, keep progressing, stay in the process, but don't get complacent.
Okay.
And so she, helped me fill out my FAFSA, going back to school, Columbus State. I was gonna be a social worker, save some lives, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and some people close to me died,
Ooh.
and due to mental illness, drugs,
Yeah.
and I wasn't so sure that was the field for me
Mm.
anymore. And because
Okay.
I don't know if I didn't want to find out whether I could bridge that gap or
Yeah.
cut that gap at the professional level
Yeah.
because I'm now I feel like I'm invested in a life, you know,
Yeah.
and it means something to me.
Yeah.
And so
It's hard. It's hard.
God bless you if you're in the field. I'm not
Any,
trying to deter anybody or
yeah,
anything like that.
anybody in the field,
Not for me.
you're on the front lines. You're on the front lines of this war, and it is a war. Lots of people are dying. And
It's not a game.
so yeah.
So yeah, so went back to school. I toured a place locally, treatment center ish type of new thing, and was talking to the guy. Just that was around that time that those people had passed that were close to me, and so I decided not to do that, and I got a promotion at work from the wood shop building crates where I was at this company to supervisor, and that was a big ego
Hmm.
boost for me. I had never made that kind of money before.
And this
It
is in your
required
first couple years. This is in your first couple
first
years.
2 years of recovery.
Okay.
Back to school, work, promotion. Stopped going to school, took on the promotion. I'm like, hey, I don't want to do that anyway. Whatever,
Right.
right? During that time, her and I were starting to, some problems were arising, and we decided to move her stepdad in, and he drank beer and stuff, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Alcohol wasn't really a huge issue for me, blah blah blah, right? And once he
Mhm.
moved in, I found out he was on some prescription pain drugs, pain pills,
Uh-oh.
and that lit my disease on fire.
Yeah.
And so, and I called around, and I
Now,
got,
okay.
yeah,
What do you when you say it lit your disease on fire? Because it's so insidious, man, and it's so
patient.
patient, and it'll wait till a weak moment, and it'll slide in some snide thoughts and some backdoor shit. So when you say it lit your disease on fire, maybe unpack that a little bit.
Elaborate a little more further.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what that did was got some wheels turning in my mind that hadn't been spun for a while. In other words, um, I'm like, okay, I know it's there. I
Mm.
know I need not do that,
Hmm.
but man, I really want to, you know. Dauphine Dave's coming to the surface like, hey, bro, listen, man, we're off probation, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I don't think I was on. No, like you're clean, you're out of, the view
Yeah.
of the agency, and no longer a client. Like, got this promotion, man. Nobody will know.
Mm.
And so let me backtrack a little bit. I got high in treatment
Okay.
on Suboxone,
Hmm.
and sorry, I try not to use specific chemicals, but it is what it is.
Well, that's important. That's important for I feel like that's important for two reasons. Suboxone can be used as a medically assisted treatment,
Absolutely,
and it's very much serves a purpose,
it's
but
effective.
it's effective for saving lives. My opinion of it is the day you get on it should be the day you start weaning yourself off, and the day you should start planning your exit, which they don't do, but that's a whole different story. But I like how you said you got high on it.
Yeah,
That's different.
yeah, it's a different deal.
Hmm.
My intentions were
To get high.
not to use it as prescribed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if anything I say triggers you, um, anybody, I'm sorry. However, I'm not responsible for your triggers. I'm responsible. I am. Right?
Yeah,
Does that make sense? I'll never
yeah,
do anything intentionally to trigger anyone, but if you do, tell on it, talk about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
I need to tell on my disease in order to stay clean. And we were talking about some
We
reservations
were
and stuff.
absolutely
Yeah,
talking
it
about
was
that
the
earlier. I was
that
telling
was
on
the
myself to you,
right.
and I've been telling on myself because it's important, man. It's
Mhm.
important because also the relationships that we've built, people care.
They do.
It's
They
not
do.
transactional.
But they don't know nobody knows I'm hurting. Nobody knows I'm struggling unless I tell 'em.
Yeah,
And I didn't do that
yeah.
with my sponsor like I should have. Right? I fell backed into a corner. My wife and I were talking about this, I think, last night after we had some people over a little Halloween, dress up,
Yeah,
dress up as your significant other party
I
and
saw some pictures of
bonfire.
that, man.
Yeah.
Looked really fun, man.
Yeah,
You guys did good.
I went all out, like eyelashes, like makeup. Yeah. Oh,
I think the wife said you were prettier than she or something like
she
that.
did. She said that, and that's you have fun in recovery, man. It's not
Yeah.
about it's I don't have to be hip, slick, and cool. I can be goofy and silly, and I was real hardcore. You know what I mean? When I came in here, I was a douchebag.
Yeah.
But after some step work and some some things, like I said, I'm
You
not
can
that
do
guy.
all the same things. You don't
Yeah,
have to be out of your
it's
mind.
not a requirement. It's not a requirement. Yep, amen to that. And so, oh gosh, oh okay, so um, uh, eventually that it was okay to go in there and take a couple of those, and then he got hip to that pretty quick. Started hiding them and stuff. Um,
Mhm.
I unblocked the guy that, or I friend friend requested the guy that I got high with in treatment
Ooh,
that lived in Coshocton, I think. Yeah, Coshocton.
neighboring town.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, well, if I don't cop or get high in town, nobody will know, right? You know what I mean? Just the stupid stuff. Like I said, that
Yeah.
the another thing that can be blurred and rationalized and justified really quick. That's really dangerous and not okay, and it's not good for me. And I didn't tell myself that. I didn't call my sponsor. I just started using. I felt back to Newport with the situation with all these people and children and child in my life, and I didn't see a way out that was going to end well. And so what I should have done was called my sponsor and started an exit plan, right?
Okay.
To systematically get these people out of my life or get myself out of their life, whatever it took, right?
Right.
I could have done that. It's a choice.
Right.
If I'm not willing to do anything about it, eventually it's going to become a big enough problem where it's either going to blow up really bad. And, I almost burned my whole life down.
Yeah.
I bought a house in that time. Shannon and I closed on the same day. I sold that house and bought a different one since then, but he's in the same one. And December, Christmas Eve 2020, closed on the same day. And, it didn't take long for me to start using different substances.
Hmm.
I did not use intravenously during that relapse. However, I did OD not far from the landing, actually, where I took meetings in with Shannon and Phil, and
Yeah.
so
Did when you OD'd, did you get Narcan?
yes. So the Trooper of the Year, who've just been awarded that, like
Okay.
some very short days and months ago,
Hmm.
was about a mile and a half up the highway there at 16, I believe it is.
Hmm.
And he got there. He had 3 canisters. Third one brought me back,
Hmm.
and he said I was white and blue,
Yeah.
purple lips.
Yeah.
I was on my way to death.
I've been Narcan too, and what scared me about dying was that I didn't see any white light. I didn't talk to God. I didn't.
Blacked
Uh,
out,
it was nothing.
lights out.
That was
My
scary.
vision. What I noticed right before when I was, someone, thank God, somebody called, saw my erratic driving. I pulled over in a turn lane in the middle of the highway. Um, 60, I think it is. North Point travels up. Yeah,
Okay.
60.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Raiders Road, somewhere around there.
Hmm.
And man, again, God doing for me, which what I couldn't do for myself. And
Yeah.
that trooper saved my life. I don't know his name. I never found out. I probably should at some point. And so I subsequently received an OVI for that, operating vehicle intoxicated. If you don't know what that means,
I
I
don't know.
use a
I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's amazing you didn't die or kill somebody,
exactly,
and
exactly.
so
My vision was collapsing from the side. That's what I noticed,
okay.
as opposed to normal,
Hmm.
whatever. And so I knew something was up. So at least I had enough wits to pull the vehicle over
Yeah.
and put it in park. I don't remember any of that. I don't remember any of that. I barely remember coming to. So anyway, that was in Muscatine County. So back I go.
Okay.
uh, Muscatine County, unfortunately, knows me well, and yeah, Perry County too, but mostly Muskingum.
Is this where
And
Miracle Court
yeah,
comes in?
yes. So nobody in the 20 years of incarceration, no one has ever offered me a program, which I wasn't worthy of. I'm not upset about it. Don't get it fucked up, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Sorry for cussing too much. It's
Nah, bring it. Bring it.
occupational
This is when I
occupational lifestyle habits.
when I upload this, I put not for kids.
Yeah, yeah, rated R.
Yeah.
Put the kids up when you watch these videos.
When I asked you, I try to ask everybody uh, to give me a gratitude list, and Muskingum County Miracle Court was high on your list.
They were, yeah, MPBHC, and
Yeah.
yeah, sponsor, mentor, yeah.
They sent you to treatment.
They offered it to me, um, and I was, hesitant, but first I pled not guilty because I knew they would let me out,
Hmm.
and pretty confident anyway,
Right.
and they did, and I continued to get high, and I called Shannon, and it was, I was crying, just he knew something was up. He wasn't really sure. I was working third shift, so the sleepy thing was kind of working out. Yeah. So, man, and I was just a mess. And um, yeah, they offered it to me, and it took me 40 to 60 seconds to really answer whether I really wanted to do that or not, because they ran it down to me what it was, and I'm like, I'd probably do my 180 days,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah, because most
That
treat
was my
most
disease speaking then.
yeah, and most
It wasn't.
treatments are a year. What exactly did they
So,
offer?
in other words, at that point I was like, I'd rather do 180 days in jail than do your program.
Right.
That's where I was at with it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I could do time,
Hmm.
right? And I'm not bragging again. That's not. It's not cool, right?
But a lot of people do this. A lot of people do this, and
Because they know they'll fail.
yeah,
You know,
instead of working on yourself,
God forbid. Don't ask me to do that.
instead of working
Yeah,
on yourself, just send me to jail.
yeah,
I'll just go do my time.
yeah. And then I can get out and do whatever I want, right? Which is to get high, which is what I was going to do to begin with. If you
Right.
let me out or not, because it's in there too. I watched two guys fall out and
Yeah.
almost die. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
In prison and jail.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's available. I got high in prison. I got high in jail.
Yeah.
I'll get what I'm looking for
Yep.
every time.
Yep.
And I look for peace and love and recovery, you know, and some serenity.
And now you get that.
Yeah, my life's not boring. It's peaceful. I put that on Facebook not too long ago. And there's a difference,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if I view, it's all about perception. Whatever I manifest, whatever I talk about, whatever I do, that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And damn, where was I? Oh, okay, Miracle Court. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so I decided to do that. They let me out. I got high. I was on what do they call that? Uh, Reporting bond,
Okay.
and I went in there to evict my ex out of my house, which I didn't even need to do. But again, God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. Matt says, "Hey, Bagels, go on in here, penis cup."
Hmm.
Knocked me up, and so I did 10 days in the county, which whatever, right? At
Yeah.
that point,
Yeah. 10 days is pretty easy.
yeah, right. But it gave me enough time to clear my mind, the dope to get out of my system, and to become aware that I have things. I had money on my books that was mine, first time ever. Just so you're aware, right? And
Yeah.
so, I had things on the street, right? I had a house and a job and vehicles and responsibilities. And on like the fourth or fifth day, I'm like, well, this is a first.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh shit. So I'm on the phone, right? Loading money on there, calling Shannon, calling the owner of the company I work for. Hey, listen, I'm sorry, I'm getting out. We're gonna do the deal.
Yeah.
And
And
it's that sounds good.
these people stuck by you,
Yeah,
through all this.
they did. I ended up leaving that company, and it wasn't on the best of terms, but it is what it is.
Okay.
I had to do what was best for me and my family at that point.
But Shannon, your sponsor, he stuck by you also, man.
He
You're
did.
out there
He did.
screwing up, and
And
he,
I have to mention this. This is really important.
okay.
So when I got out, my ex had brought people into the home with drugs and paraphernalia, and I had drugs in there that I knew I had, and my POs met me over there, and Shannon also came with me and helped me get rid of flush everything that I had, that
Hmm.
I knew I had. And I ended up running across more things under like sinks and
You always,
oh yeah, there was and then she had my van, so it was in both our names. That was a bad idea, in retrospect. However, and I found a large amount of drugs in there. I mean, a lot. And dude, I got tested. I got tested a lot.
man, that's
And
rough.
and
That's rough when you're
I
trying
was
to
able to stay
rebuild.
clean, and that's a miracle, man. That is that is so I can't. It's hard to even put into words how many times God and the people in my life that He's put in my life
Yeah.
have saved my life so many times, man. Not just the relapse, not just the first time I came in, the whole time I've been on this earth, and
then you belong here.
I'm here.
You
We are
belong here.
right, and so that's why I like, anytime there's a platform like this for people that are out there listening, um, that don't even know that another life is available to you. It is, and we do recover. It happens. It requires a lot of effort and a lot of willingness and honesty and open mindedness and a whole lot of other stuff. But just getting clean is the first step. Just stop doing the dope and move towards recovery instead of moving towards the trap house or whatever that looks like for each individual. But
Right on the top, right on the top of your social media, man, it says an addict, any addict,
anyhow,
any addict can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to
it's
live.
a big and.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
our literature and our founders, Jimmy K and everybody involved in this literature, there's it's very strategic. It took a lot of time and effort, people to write this stuff. This book is for us, man. It's for me. It's
Okay.
for you.
Yeah.
It's for any addict seeking recovery, and it's a it's a textbook for living. And there's other that have been written, right, that are big and small, and different names for them, right?
Well, it's
It's just the
amazing.
one I choose.
It's amazing that we have a disease. They say that there's no known cure, but I'm like, man, you can cure it every day. You work on it
It's
every
treatable,
day and
absolutely.
treat it every day. And there's step by step instructions
Yeah,
on how to deal with this disease, man.
yeah. What can I do? Is the chapter staying clean for dummies? That's what I call it.
Okay.
Staying clean for
Okay.
it breaks it down exactly what you need, the recipe that you need to stay clean.
Yeah.
Not get clean, stay clean.
Stay clean.
And being in recovery, not around recovery. I heard that from Shannon. He said that a lot when I got here.
What was it?
There's a difference between being in recovery and being around recovery. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm in it, I'm doing the work. I'm talking to people. If once I got it, I'm giving it back.
Yeah.
I'm doing service work selflessly, not for attention or whatever the
Yeah.
other, which I did early on. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie.
So I say there's a big difference between being in recovery and going to meetings. Same thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't willing to do any of the suggest. I wasn't willing to take any suggestions.
Yeah.
Where I took some, not all. I took some, and anything ever suggested to me in recovery, either fellowship, was hurt me in any way. That was always helpful if I was willing to do it and apply some spiritual principles while I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And in the 12 traditions, it talks about it's just understanding and another important and application. Because I can understand and
Effort.
regurgitate a whole lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I can quote all of our, not, I can regurgitate some stuff,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. You could talk a good game.
But with that integrity we talked about earlier, am I willing to apply it in between
Yeah.
to my wife, to my family, to my friends, to my new family?
Yeah.
You know, am
Yeah.
I still acting out and hurt people?
What one important um, reading is we apply these principles in all of our affairs, all of,
Yeah,
from integrity, being by yourself, from being by yourself, eating right, exercising, going to the doctor. We talked about that. Um, just simple things and treating the way you treat people on the street. Just practicing these principles in all of our affairs. Um,
yeah,
huge,
yeah.
huge.
Coming from Shannon drilled in my head from the beginning that you can do within reason whatever you want to do, but make sure you're coming from a loving place with it. So, not everything needs to be said, and
Hmm.
I don't always have to be right.
Yeah.
Uh, my wife would probably disagree with that statement, but because I still, hey man, I'm not perfect. I still come out the side of my neck, and when I don't like somebody, I just don't like them. And
It's a
I
journey,
still love
man.
them, I still hug them, but good to see you. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can keep that bullshit way over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's very possible to love somebody from over here.
And having some people, I've lost some people in recovery. Um, my brother Michael committed suicide my first year clean the second time after my relapse. My brother Troy died a year, almost about a year and a half after that. Just 6:30 in the morning, 59 years old, dropped dead after a
Mm,
knee surgery. My sister, about a year after that, was on the roof with a leaf blower or cleaning out. Something fell and busted her head on the concrete, died.
wow.
And I can't, too many people to name and list that have died from this disease
Yeah. Yeah.
in the 6 years that I've been in recovery.
Yeah.
And you know, I fucked around with it the first time around. I lied. I had resentments. I had that I didn't let go of. I had what did we talk about? Reservations.
Reservations.
I became complacent. I became complacent,
Mhm.
lazy with my recovery, and I treated it. I wasn't serious about it
Yeah.
anymore. I thought that if I could acquire some money and some things, right, that I would be okay, and then I didn't need you guys anymore,
Hmm.
right? And that again, that was my disease, kicking sticks out from under shit, trying, working in the background, just waiting for the right moment, for the right person to say the right thing to get my thought process going in that direction and continue on until I die, right? Because my
Hmm.
disease wants to fucking kill me.
Yeah.
It wants me to die with a needle in my arm. In my case, it's different for other people,
Yeah.
right? And so, I don't mess around. If it's serious, it's life or death, man, this time around. I talked about it. And it was cute when we say it. You know what I mean? The first time when I say it, not we,
Hmm.
um, you know, but it didn't have any substance
Yeah.
until I really almost did die, right?
This is
And
definitely a matter of life and death. Definitely a matter of life and death. And people are dying every day. I think one statistic is um, people over the last couple years, more people have died of overdose than in all the last wars since Vietnam.
combined,
Yeah.
combined.
Yeah.
I heard that somewhere also too long
Yeah. It's unreal.
ago. And
Unreal.
but it's so, you know, after it was a hard comeback. I got my white key tag at the We Do Recover meeting there, um, and I thought I was gonna be judged, and people were gonna, right. I had this view of what it was gonna be like, and when I looked in these people's faces, it wasn't judgment. People that truly cared for me.
Right.
It wasn't judgment. It
It's
was
the people that
it
matter.
was sad, right? And this it was sadness, and you know, they didn't even want to look me in my eye, and I definitely didn't want to look them in theirs,
Yeah.
and there was tears, and we hugged, and I'm glad, and that's I should say this, if it happens, relapse is not a part of recovery; it's a part of my disease. If it happens, come back immediately. Don't wait. Um, and it was a really difficult comeback. I remember an individual at a Valentine's Day event looked me dead in my eye like she was peering into my soul. And this is what she said: when you get involved in a romantic relationship in our fellowship and it doesn't work out, it causes disunity. And I was like, the fuck you talking to? And
Ouch.
this was real raw, like this had just happened.
Yeah.
The relapse and the you
Hmm.
know the,
The coming
the
back.
failed relationship, and I'm in drug court. I'm working night shift. Like I'm doing the deal, but again, I'm still in that period where I honestly really still I not really I wanted to get high. I just didn't
Hmm.
want to go pay the consequences again. Right?
Right.
It got to a point, you know, between 90 days and 6 months that time where I wanted recovery again.
Yeah.
But the first 90 to, 90 days to 5 months, I'm like, you
When
know,
about when do you think it hit that you lost the desire to use?
between 6 and 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah, that time around.
Yeah.
It was sooner than that.
The first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though my clean date was a lie, and you know what I mean. Like
Mhm.
but I didn't want to get hot. And I needed. I'm just that dumbass that needs a whole lot of accountability up front in the beginning, so that I can stay clean
Mhm.
until I want to stay clean again.
Accountability and awareness were two huge things that you brought up to me. Um,
Yeah.
the accountability keeps is a reoccurring, word.
Mhm.
Maybe explain to me a little more about awareness, and how, because this is a backdoor, backhanded, sly, cunning, uh,
It's
evil disease.
it's
And
insidious, man.
yeah, yeah. Um, so when it comes to accountability, we all know what that means. We all
Right.
know what we got to
Yeah.
do. But awareness maybe is a little more slippery slope. How do you define
Um, Awareness for me comes in a lot of forms.
that?
Most of it stems from accountability,
Hmm.
to be honest.
Hmm.
And staying in the basics. Reading my literature, praying, going to meetings, um, talking to my sponsor, working the steps. So I'm not the fastest step worker. you know,
Me either.
I'm working on it, man. It's not a race, it's not a competition, and so this time around, I'm working on application of spiritual principles. Really working on becoming a better human being. You
Yeah.
know, stuff is cool, but that's temporary. I can't take it with me. The only thing I'm going to leave behind is my legacy and how I treated people, and whether I was a good and all those names of things, father, son, husband, mentors. Was did I treat those people well? Did I deserve any of those names
Okay.
that are on
Yeah.
that board?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do I deserve those names? And do people call me dad and son? And is it really love?
Yeah.
And so those things are more important to me today, than material stuff. Um, don't get me wrong, I like buying shit in school. It's a problem. It's a problem. Afterpay and Klarna.
Me too. Me too. I like how you talk. I like how you brought up awareness because I was telling on myself, I'm coming up on an anniversary, and so my disease is like, Ken, you could probably have a glass of wine, you could probably drink, and um, it if I drink, I become a different person, and that guy likes meth.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so about 2 beers in, I'll be like, call the dude, you know what I mean? Call the dude. And so awareness to me, because I try to apply what people say, and I talked about my higher power turning up the volume on shit, you know?
yeah,
And yeah, and since I've turned my will and my decisions over to my higher power. I'm just not like take it and run with it, but I listen and I pay attention. And when my higher power turns up the volume on things, I pay attention to that
yeah.
shit.
It's funny you say that because my mentor, a guy that I meet with pretty regularly, he said that we give our life and will over to our higher power in step three, and it's given back to us renewed and more aligned with God's will in step 11, right?
Okay.
And when I heard that, I was like, okay, that's cool. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then it just stuff like that rolls around in my head for a while,
Yeah.
right? And it pops up, and it's hard to explain.
It
It
is hard.
makes it just makes sense. It
Yeah.
starts to make sense.
Yes.
All this one-liners from my dad, all the stuff that Shannon and Phil and people tell me, and the
All the
things that we
stuff
would
that you read in the
read.
literature.
Yeah, all this
Yes.
stuff, right? It's all it's all in my toolbox. It's all part of of what I have to have.
And then it starts to
Yeah, yeah, the
weave.
gears start to, yeah,
Yeah,
the teeth start to meet.
yeah, yeah,
You know, it's not so much friction. They're not like 9 feet away. You know,
yeah.
so it's cool how things just come full circle, and the God of my understanding, doesn't put things in my path and things on my plate that are bad for me and that I cannot handle. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I believe that today. Now, in the moment, right, when I got laid off from my, we talked about this. I got laid off from my job. Natasha got pregnant. Um, I was in school, working and doing school, and uh, uh, two and two didn't equal four. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Life gets lifey.
And so, but I'm a part of the solution to that, not the problem.
Mhm.
And that stems not just in recovery, but into my life too. So I get on the phone, right? I learn to reach out in recovery. I get on the phone. I reach out to my mortgage company. I get put on you know, a deferment
Yeah,
program,
yeah.
right? COVID-19 forbearance plan, and they modified, and I don't pay so much now, and I got my interest rate reduced. Like, those things,
You're proactive now instead of responding.
yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
go file bankruptcy. I got on the phone and asked for help, right? I didn't go doomsday like I'm gonna lose everything that I've worked all these years for, man. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do that. I'm gonna put in some work to keep what I have. And that applies to my recovery and my life and my relationships and everything. Recovery touches everything in my life just like the dope did.
Yeah.
It
Ooh.
must. It
Wait,
must.
say that again.
Recovery must touch every part of my life just like the dope did.
Beautiful.
It must,
Beautiful.
in order for me to stay clean
Yeah.
and continue to progress through the process. Because if the recovery process ceases,
Hmm.
uh, I'm on my way to death or another institution
Yeah.
or whatever. Right?
Absolutely. It's a
We could
game,
go
it's a
on and
game you
on.
can't win. And I'm trying to broaden the term of recovery because you don't have to be a drug addict to go through recovery. You can have a broken bone. You can be a divorce. You can be grieving a lost loved one,
Gambling,
gambling,
sex,
a
I mean,
breakup.
whatever.
So recovery, everybody goes through recovery. And these are steps. I think the 12 steps should be a class in high school.
I agree. I agree.
Uh,
Along with credit and balancing, our bank accounts and
yeah.
checkbooks and what they're for and how to use them.
Yeah. How about calling and asking for help?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You're
right.
never taught how to do that,
No,
you know?
just man up.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up with. You go get it. You want it, you go get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, man up till you got it.
Yeah.
What happens in this house stays in this house. I could go on and on, man.
Yeah.
And it's
Dumb
those
kid.
are toxic learned behaviors from my juvenile past, which I didn't really touch on that a whole lot. And I'm still I'm still the little boy seeking validation from my dad who wasn't around. Right? He was there, but he wasn't. My parents were married for 30 years. But my dad worked retail sales.
Yeah.
So he was there, but he wasn't. And I'm the last of six. So really, my parents could have been my grandparents. My oldest brother could have been my dad. Right.
Okay.
So like this, these are things
Yeah.
that I put together over the years and some reflection and step work that I'm still that little boy wanting my dad to pay attention to me, and that's why I was acting out in the first place. And then I found drugs, and I didn't have to feel cope or deal with anything.
Yeah.
And then it was game on from there, right?
So that's what I've learned in this recovery journey is your brain, the emotional part of your brain stops developing when you start using drugs. And so being that little boy, I'm that little boy. That's why I work so good with teenagers and stuff like that, because I'm still that kid just trying to heal from a lot of this stuff. But it took the literature, it took Narcotics Anonymous, treatment, working the steps,
A village.
a village. Yeah, yeah. To even realize that still an emotional child.
Yeah.
What I say earlier? I was
Don't ask boy. Give us some time. Give us some time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, man, you've had some serious wins in the last what year?
Yeah.
You get married,
Yeah.
son?
Well, I got married in 2023.
Okay, okay, a little over a year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And um so yeah, like you my family came, some of them came to
Mhm.
the wedding. My sister was there. our relationship was strained for some time, and she danced with me at the wedding. Because oh man, it's just
Gifts,
recovery
blessings.
has given me. I don't want to say. I mean, yeah, I got some stuff back, but I really never had shit to begin with, right?
Okay.
I'll be honest with you.
Hmm.
I probably stole it or was given to me, by happenstance. Never really earned anything in those 20 years when I was out there.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of stuff, had a lot of different jobs and stuff, but you know, so like, it's given me. I gave up one thing to receive everything,
Everything.
everything. I think you or somebody put something on Facebook similar to that. I don't know what it was, what the reverse of that.
You
Um,
only have to give up, or recovery means giving up one thing
yeah,
to get,
where I gave up everything for one thing,
yeah, drug use.
right? And
Yeah.
I give up one thing for everything, recovery, right?
Yeah.
And so, like stuff like that, just it's all effective, to I can put whatever I want in my
Yeah.
toolbox,
Yeah. And there's mantras.
and it can change.
Yeah.
I may
Yeah.
need it all, I may need two things, I may need nothing. It just, depends on how uh, what my spiritual condition is,
Mhm.
and what my perception and belief system, how that is aligned. You know,
Absolutely. My last couple guests have uh, had a mantra that when they get triggered, or well, I had Bink was on, and he said when he hears the psh
yeah,
of a can,
yeah.
or Icy, she had a little saying. What's your little saying that you say to yourself?
Um, man, well, I definitely start to pray immediately. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Serenity prayer, and I generally should. I don't always, but I should get on the phone and tell them that immediately, whatever I'm
Yeah.
triggered by. And tell them, like we were talking about, tell them a disease. If nobody, nobody knows I'm hurting or struggling, if I don't, just reach out. You know,
Right.
and that's one of the hardest but best things hardest thing to do, but the best thing to do in my recovery. Oh, I don't know about the best, but it's definitely up there.
Hmm.
It's up there. Reaching out, staying connected, not only um, not only consistently connected with the God of my understanding, but connected with people in recovery.
Yeah.
Because and that's been difficult for me. With the baby, I've got Raiden was born in June,
Hmm.
and I got a different job with the laborers union now, and
Conscious contact.
that's it.
Yeah.
I could not think of it. Thank you.
Conscious
Yeah,
contact.
got conscious contact. Not only with who is it? There's another Dave that says if this ain't right, this ain't
Okay.
right, right?
Okay. Yeah. I get it.
And so
Dave
there's
C.
D.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard other people say it, just who I can
Hmm.
think of off the top of my head. And so, like I said, there's all that stuff applies today if I'm willing to do so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get any
Yeah.
better sitting on the couch watching football or whatever it is I'm doing. You know what I mean? I need to take time to treat my disease, right?
Yeah.
It's my opinion is that it's uncurable. That's just how my belief.
Okay.
However, it is treatable.
Right.
And if I don't get, it's just like what cancer or kidney failure, any of those things, it
Hmm.
goes into remission, right?
Yeah. A
And,
disease
and
is a disease is a disease.
right,
Hmm.
and that's my belief that it is a disease,
Hmm.
and I must treat that. And Narcotics Anonymous is how I treat my disease. There are many forms of recovery out there. However you get it, you get it. And I know people that drink and just smoke weed or whatever. And
Hmm.
that's for them. That's cool. I don't judge.
Right. Right.
Who am I,
But it does
right?
need treated often and consistently treatment.
Yeah. For this addict, I don't know about anybody else. You know what I mean? And I can say confidently in my we,
Yeah.
right, that we do that
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
you know, and Natasha and I have been working on, making some traditions at our house, bringing people to us because we can't with the baby, and it's
Yeah.
difficult to travel and do things.
I also respect you, man, for bringing you attend meetings and you bring the kid, man,
Yeah.
and people love to have the baby
Oh
over
yeah. Oh yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But
It's
you still
RSV
make
inclusive.
you
So
still make it. So I don't. It's hard to hear people make the well. I got the kid, and I don't know.
and I had to leave home
That,
for him. I took him and he wigged out,
yeah.
screaming and I had to leave home, drop pass the key to, the other home group member, and they get it. They have kids too,
Hmm.
So like, yeah, it's life today is beautiful, and it has very little to do. I'm gonna bring it up again. Has very little to do with material things.
Absolutely.
Yes, I own my house. Yeah, I have a car. Yes, I have a job. Blah blah blah. Right. But without the God of my understanding and recovery, that's all for nothing anyway. So that's the most important thing is, having some integrity and treating myself and others well, and being deserving of those names, on that board. And you know, it's trying to think if there's yeah, yeah. Oh, so back to awareness, just real
Oh
quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So well, I'll start with accountability. What I what I found is, and what all these people, agencies, institutions were all trying to teach me is to become self accountable, so that we people didn't have to make decisions for me. I can make my own decisions and be free, right?
Okay.
Open freedom. Our promises, our message is open. Our promise is freedom.
Yeah,
That means so much to me that I got it tattooed on me because I believe that. That
yeah,
because when I came in here, I had no hope, but I got that hope shot quickly.
yeah,
I heard something, right?
yeah.
And it was like,
And
hey,
you see other people that are doing it,
and
man.
then I got proof. I have evidence
Yes.
because faith was hard for me, man. Something that's not there. I can't see it. It's intangible. It's not tangible. So I don't believe. Coming to believe is a process for me. And I'm sure it is for many others, but I didn't see it as that
Mhm.
when I spread that and did that step the first time. I thought, okay, cool. I believe. Rock on. Skipped right over that. Step two is very important.
I'm gonna have
You know,
that.
very
I'm
important.
gonna put that in the label of this episode. I think hold on for the evidence, the proof,
The proof.
the proof.
There are those of us out here doing the deal, putting in the work, staying clean, becoming better human beings, having better lives, recovering our relationships with our family, our children, our the stuff that matters, man.
Yeah.
The cars and the girls and the money, that can all be gone
All
in an
this stuff,
instant.
all this stuff that you've talked about getting back hasn't been stuff.
Yeah,
It's been relationships, relationships, man.
that's
Really.
what's important. That's what's important to me, to this addict today. Not so much in the past,
Yeah.
but after you were around after I am around for a while, I lost some people, and it becomes of the utmost importance, relationships, and having integrity and patience and tolerance and understanding. And there are people I cannot tolerate, and God puts them in my path to apply that principle, right? And and I could go on how that works, right?
Right.
It's not just people, God putting people into my life to help me and protect me. There are also people in my life to test me, to test me. Phew, am I a worthy servant, right?
Yeah.
Am I faithful?
Yeah.
You know, can I toe the line when the chips are a little down and you say some dumb shit to piss me off? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I apply it then?
Are you a good steward of the literature? Are you?
It's
Hmm.
and real quick, I just so I've been in the literature a lot more this time around than ever.
Okay.
And I skipped over um, recovery and relapse,
Mhm.
right? And I'll say it again: recovery, relapse is not a part of recovery; it's part of my disease. But this is an important chapter, and on page 82, it says that one of the biggest stumbling blocks to recovery seems to be placing unrealistic expectations. on ourselves or others
Ooh, on
specifically,
ourselves or
or
others. Yeah. Okay.
not
Okay.
and. We can do it at the same time, right? Very
Yes.
small words strategically placed, I believe,
Yes.
in our literature.
Yes.
And so relationships can be a terribly painful area, not just painful, but terribly painful. Not saying that that's my belief is that it's not 100% true all the time.
Can be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Can be a terribly painful area. We tend to fantasize and project what will happen. We get angry and resentful if our fantasies are not fulfilled. We forget that we are powerless over other people. Not, and my ad lib is not just addiction and drugs, right? It
True.
stems so far, so much further than that.
True. That's one of those areas where you're practicing this in all your affairs. You know, not it doesn't
It's
only
got to
have to
touch
apply.
everything, man.
Ah,
Got to touch everything.
yes.
The old thoughts, we forget that the old thoughts and feelings of loneliness, despair, helplessness, and self pity creep in if I don't reach out. That's my personal note. Thoughts of sponsors, meetings, literature, and all other positive input leave our consciousness. This is highlighted and boxed in. We have to keep our recovery first and our priorities in order.
Mm.
That's probably the most important, shortest sentence on this page, but man, how important it is.
Oh man, I love it. So I constantly tell people, and the reason I constantly tell people is so that I'll do it myself.
Mhm.
But I'm like, don't stop doing what got you clean.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. My dad told me that 30 years ago.
Golly.
So simple, right? So simple.
Just don't stop doing what got you clean. If going to meetings, talking to people, reaching out, uh,
Staying connected.
staying connected, reading, doing the steps, if that's what got you clean, keep keep doing it, man. Just keep doing it. Keep coming back.
Yeah, yeah,
I know that you mentioned to me Shannon is huge. Shannon's huge in a lot of people's recovery, man. I'm working on
yeah. And
Shannon.
Phil T. Phil T.
Phil T.
Huge part of my recovery too.
Okay, okay.
And
Um,
there are others too. That's just the two that I'm in most contact with, and of course, my best friends, the other Phil S. and
mhm,
Rye, and
mhm.
you know, Jen and Robin, and yeah, like we get our we we find our we,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
works, and the people that are
Man, I like that
supportive.
because I say we find our why. So we find our why and our we.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that's beautiful, man. I want to give a shout out to White's Coatings.
yeah, and construction.
Um,
Yeah,
that's Shannon's,
yeah,
right? And he's living out his dream.
yeah.
He's living out his dream. He's the creator of his own destiny. By doing that, he's um working every day doing exactly what he wants to do. Another shout out that you wanted to give was to Grant
Fencing and
Fencing and
restoration.
Restoration.
Yep.
Okay, so who are that?
So Ryan and Keith both met. I met both of those. Well, that was one of the guys that was in treatment with me.
Okay, okay.
Man, I don't know. Well, whatever. Too late now. My bad. Love you, bro. But this is another person
Hmm.
in my we that we're not like real close as far as like geographically.
Hmm.
But we talk on a pretty regular basis. I work for him. Like when I got laid off and stuff like that, and
Okay.
like on the weekends and stuff, and we those two guys, we cultivated a friendship, and they've been again a part of my recovery and part of my we, and he does great work, and yeah, so I just want to plug a couple of people that um that mean a lot to me and that are out there, either starting or or beginning to establish or have a business out there. We need to support
And
them.
I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Local,
support.
small
Yeah,
businesses and people that are making a difference, man. And that's how you it takes a village, you know. Um,
yeah.
is there anything else that well let me ask you this. What are you working on? What future things? Because I would like to have all my guests come back. What future goals and stuff are you working on? Or maybe we just have you come back and talk about the kid
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, being a present father, dad,
Yeah.
not just somebody contributing support out of my check and checking in, every once in a while, which I do have a relationship with my oldest son
Yeah.
now, and that's going well. He comes
Nice.
over to the house and visits um, me and the wife and his little brother,
Yeah.
and so that's
Okay.
that's cool, man. Again, cultivating those relationships or reestablishing or establishing, relationships with family and children are
Hmm.
on the top of my priority list. Under obviously, God and recovery, keeping our priorities in order, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's important?
Yeah.
What's really important?
And that's
And
relationships.
yeah, and so love again, love has a different meaning for me today.
Hmm.
Um, you know, my wife kind of makes fun of me, because I tell people I love them, and I mean that.
Yeah.
I'm, and I could not like you and love you,
I agree.
you know,
I agree.
and it's okay, right?
I tell some of
It-
my clients, I'm like, sometimes not smacking someone is loving
I
them.
love you enough not to put my hands on. Yeah,
Yes.
right. And
Yeah.
so I go there in my mind,
Hmm.
and I struggled working, I snatched a couple guys up and that kind of thing, and thank God it didn't go any further than that, any trouble or anything. But yeah, it was a very just not. I was just not a good person or a nice
Yeah.
person, and to an extent. And then once you got me there, then I'm talking that shit, and you know what I mean, amplifying the situation to where it's gonna now it's a scene and people are loud, people walking over and looking.
Right.
It's unnecessary. It really is. All that stuff that I learned that I needed to unlearn.
Yeah.
Right, that was a process also. You know,
Yeah.
those are a part of my survival, not a toolbox, but a survival kit. I
Yes.
put the survival kit down. I picked up a toolbox when I got in recovery, and I started to utilize um, different things, tools,
Hmm.
principles. My belief system. What is recovery is an active change in our attitude and beliefs. It
Okay.
says
I
that's in
get.
our
Yep.
literature,
Yep. I like it.
right? And active.
Active.
That's a very strategic word. I'm telling you, these guys thought this shit up, man.
Yeah.
They didn't write this in 24 hours, a week.
Hmm.
There was, right? And
This
so
goes all the way back to the beginning of our conversation when you said try and do.
it's choice. Yeah, because I tried to do a lot of shit for a long time. Nothing ever got completed. Oh well, some shit got done.
But
Nothing that
nothing
I
got
needed to
completed.
do,
Yeah.
just what I wanted to do. So, and again, those priorities can be flip flopped, right?
Hmm.
What I need to do and what I want to do. My dad told me a long time ago that you do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do.
I
Don't
love it.
let what you want to do affect what you need to do,
Right.
right?
Right. And
And
if the priority is for the service or for the helping of others instead of just our own selfish wants, a lot of times, man, it's a lot easier and rewarding, fulfilling. Shit gets done. It's what needs to happen.
yeah, my life is exponentially better when I am not, um, I don't have raging self obsession. Phil and I talked about that earlier today when that was one of the things in the 6 step. It works how and why. There's a section in there that talks about the 6 step is our character defects,
Yeah.
and it talks about that wounded look that happens when we act on our defects, right? We're that asshole again, right?
Yeah.
And you see that look, and I know
Yeah.
everybody listening to this, I know you know exactly what I'm talking. When
They
you're
they
when
call it the captain. When I get that look, it's the captain.
Yeah, right. Well, not no the wounded look in their eyes
Oh,
when
okay.
I act out on my
Oh,
defect,
okay. Okay.
when I make you feel less than because it feels makes me feel better, right?
Gotcha.
When I say that smart ass remark when I could have just not, right?
Yep.
that another dig to your ego and your
Yeah.
self-esteem, right? Because that's one of my top defects. I want you to feel bad so I feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Now we're even.
Yeah.
That's not okay,
That
right?
goes right back to awareness and
Yeah.
accountability.
Because my raging self-obsession, the core of my disease, that's active. The spiritual principles in recovery are not active. I have deactivated that, and now my disease is at the forefront, and I'm acting out on defects, and I'm making people feel bad because I'm a dick. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
effective.
Yeah.
It's a learned toxic behavior that I've not unlearned
Yeah.
yet, and it may never completely go away, but I can get better
Mhm.
at it. We say, what's the still sick, right?
Still sick.
I like at the end of that though is getting better. And
Yeah.
I try to focus on that today. I try to focus on getting better.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
also a lot of times those things are what we learned, kept us alive, maybe served us,
survival
yeah, survival served us at a certain point in life, but they no
keeps
longer
people
serve.
at bay.
Yeah, it no longer served you. It
It
no
doesn't.
longer serves you in
It's
recovery.
just hurtful.
Yeah.
And that's not necessary today for this app. You know what I mean? I still do it. Not perfect. Ask my wife.
It's a journey.
so, so some goals are to you know raise my son in a
Hmm.
non-toxic environment, right? Our raise our son in a non-toxic environment, and we're both working on in different ways, working on becoming better human beings so that we don't
Backslide,
further.
backslide, relapse
Yeah,
in behavior
well,
issues.
kind of generational.
Okay.
You try not to pass down those learned behaviors
Hmm.
from family experiences on both sides. You know,
Yeah.
to raise
Yeah.
them in a loving, as non-toxic of a home. I didn't
You
phrase
guys
that
talk
well.
about this, and do you have a date night? What are some things that you're incorporating?
We had one at one point. It's been tough.
Okay.
A lot of things have happened.
Yeah.
But we're beginning to, not but we are beginning to do some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such as having like the Halloween thing last night, and
Mm,
we have Friendsgiving every year, which you're more than invited, more than welcome to come.
okay.
It's the first Saturday after Thanksgiving. We did it last year, and it was awesome.
Okay.
People, at our home, eating and fellowship, and kids running around, and it's just yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a beautiful thing, man. And
Yeah, I'll have to come up. I'll have to come up.
just working on establishing, meaningful relationships, not just in the 60 minutes that we're at a meeting or the dinner after or the fellowship after, but working on friendships and family and
Incorporating
love.
it into your life and
Yeah,
lifestyle.
because I'm not big on man. So, and again, that's a learned behavior, right? My father, nobody ever called for my dad, no friends.
Okay.
If it wasn't business, they weren't calling
Yeah.
our house. He never had any friends over.
It was more transactional for him then.
Well, he drank for 20 years, so he was an
Uh,
alcoholic, and he was in Nam, and so he was, social, had social anxiety, and
mhm.
just didn't trust people, and he'd been on this earth long enough to see quite more than most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, right, and so I'm trying to break that.
Yeah.
I don't like people. I don't, it's just a thing, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
having people at my house is unnerving to me,
Okay.
because I know what I'm capable of. Not saying that they would,
Yeah.
just saying.
Right. You know what a human is capable of, and so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that leads me to my core values. Um, and
Oh yeah.
my core values for this program, and I try to incorporate them in life, is love, integrity, respect, honesty, creativity, and gratitude. um, and so I've been asking my guests which one of those hits you and resonates in your life right now.
Gratitude
Okay.
all day. I know it's like a taboo-ish topic.
No, no, it's not,
In
man.
some circles, right?
You wouldn't believe the attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude, man. And yeah, Shannon, drilled stuff like that in my head. Remain grateful, honesty, open mindedness, and willingness. That's how I stay clean.
Yeah.
It's the how of the program. That's how I. It's just the beginning, and it opens the door to the rest of the hundreds of other spiritual
Yeah.
principles. But just let's just focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's start small because it's overwhelming getting clean and feeling feelings and not being a criminal and
Hmm.
there's a lot going on in the first 60 to first 0 to
0 to 100.
100, yeah, 180, right? the
Yeah.
blue the blue key tag, the
Yeah.
days to months, right?
Yeah.
There's a transition there. Both times I've had a transition at that period where the desire to use has been most. I still think about getting high to this day.
Right.
I have no desire to use
Right.
right now just for today, but
It's less of a
it's
compulsion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there's an IP. It's the Triangle of Obsession, I
Yep.
believe is what it's called. I forget what the IP number is. A great read, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It's right to the point, man.
Those IPs, man, those IPs.
Yeah, yeah. We've been plucking them off the table and getting them into our rotation, and
Yeah.
yeah, he's switching up, doing different stuff. Trying to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Well, for lack of a better word, it's not dead. So like remaining grateful for what I have
Hmm.
and not Facebook is a very deceptive. I'm going to tread lightly here. It's a very deceptive view on other people's lives.
Yeah.
We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. you
Yep.
know
Yep.
I almost lost everything I had a couple of times. I don't share that a whole lot because why? Uh,
Yeah.
it's not unless it's
We're,
in this
we're a little
type of
more
setting.
old school. We're a little
Yeah,
more old school and without putting all that stuff.
yeah,
But Facebook, the internet is a tool and you
yep.
can use it
It
for good
it's
or evil.
it really, in my opinion, not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
Not to bash them or anything, but it's deceptive, and it it's very addictive. It's very um, spurs envy and jealousy, and you
Yeah.
see these things that are happening. People are like, man, I gotta do more. I need more. Ah,
Yeah.
if unless they're pictures of family and love and
Yeah.
gatherings and fellowship and you know what I mean. But it's very materialistic. It's if we live in this, right? We're
Well,
very
that's
materialistic
I'm
world.
trying to when I use it, I'm trying to use it for the good, for the better, for what I hope that it's used for. I got a poster in front of my toilet. Every time I take a leak, it says want better, not more.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, like we had plenty of more, right?
Right.
That's
Right. And you can never get enough of something that almost works. And so I'm
yeah.
at
When
this
you put on you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
yeah, yeah,
Famous coach, I forget who said that,
yeah,
and so yeah, that's a part of my a part of my recovery too. It's continuing to progress, not just financially and materialistic wise material things, but again, you know relationships,
mhm,
love, am I treating myself well and others, and the whole keeping the utilizing the 10 step, even though I'm not on it and I haven't worked it, I can still utilize it, right?
right,
It's an
right,
IP for that too.
right,
It's got a step by step. There's a lot in it. A lot of people
yeah,
short form that, but it's a great way to keep in tune with you know what's going on. Have I hurt anyone today? Have I done something for my recovery today? It's very important questions that I need to ask myself
right,
on a very consistent basis.
yeah.
So yeah.
Um, I feel like we could carry this
Oh,
conversation on for
midnight.
hours and hours and hours,
We can
man.
keep going. Yeah.
But this is a great spot
Yeah.
to wind it down. I think maybe even the wifey's calling.
Yep. She's
We'll
calling.
have to give her an
As we speak.
explanation. And there's a meeting going on. I got to unlock the doors
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and stuff like
It's
that.
time
But
to go.
Dave, I love you, man. And
I love you too.
you drove what, hour and a half, 2 hours to get.
No, no, it's like 40. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, about an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
And but it's for service, man. And um, I
Message of
love it.
recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's service. And so now your message, I'm gonna try and give make it make give you some justice and
Appreciate that.
and your message will be working for you 24/7.
Nice.
And Thanksgiving's coming up, the
Yeah.
Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Friendsgiving, yes, the
Friendsgiving.
Saturday after Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's a tradition
Okay.
we started last year, and we're gonna put it on again. It's a little rough, back to back
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
weekends, and but people bringing stuff and they help, and yeah, it's service work, and not just
Again,
yeah, in life in general.
making it a lifestyle.
Yeah, fellowship and service work. Yeah,
Thank you, man. I love you.
love you too, man.
This is Real Talk 1111. We'll see you.